Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. This video was brought my attention to me by a friend of mine, and his name is, I'm gonna just use his initials, JPBK, and I thank you very much for doing this. And it is about the Foreign Minister of India, Mr. Dr. Jaishankar, who refuses the NATO template, the NATO way of thinking, or the NATO proposition. So I have a little video coming from the Hindustan Times. So let's see what these guys are about to say. So this is Hindustan Times, and let's see. Is this from June 9th, 2023? This is Dr. Jaishankar, and he's going to say something. It's going to be a little bit edited, but then I'm going to go to the full sentence at minute 1. So it's going to be right here after I just play the beginning. So let me put this on high volume. Ready? Go.
A lot of Americans still have that NATO treaty construct in their heads. The reality is that is not a template that applies to India.
All right, so I'm going to go to minute 1 here, where he's going to talk. It's going to be, one full sentence.
See, one of the challenges of a changing world is how do you get people to accept and adjust to those changes? Even today, not just with this committee, I see this, in analysis of various kinds and writings of people. A lot of Americans still have that NATO treaty construct in their heads. So any situation they deal with, they use that like it seems almost like that's the only sort of template with which, or only viewpoint with which they look at the world. The reality is that is not a template that applies to India. So,
there you have it. So what is he saying? Saying, well, your worldview should not be the only one available and should be imposed on other countries. And since India is not a small country and seems to be independent and sovereign, can afford to, refuse to follow that worldview, which would be, believe me, if India would be to join something like, an extension of NATO, India will not be in charge. There we know is only one country that is in charge and will be in charge. If that country will stop being in charge, which is obviously the United States of America, then there will be no more NATO. There's going to be something else or nothing at all. Obviously, like always, the strong imposes, and however you want to look at things, hey, we are all together here, it's always a guy who's in charge. Look, for instance, at the European Union. Yes, each country has supposedly the same weight, the same value, the same power. That's not so. There's 2 or 3 countries that really have a little bit of more influence than, let's say, Romania or Bulgaria or countries like this, or Hungary. And that's been tested by Hungary. I just mentioned it. And if you remember, the former Prime Minister of Italy, Mario Draghi, when they were supposed to, European Union was supposed to impose some sanctions on Russia at one point, Hungary refused. They said, well, we have many questions. And Mario Draghi said, well, you know what? I don't like this. I don't like the veto thing in the European Union, because if the whole European Union wants to impose sanctions on another country, one of their policies is that they all have to be in agreement. If one country is not in agreement, then the whole thing goes to garbage. In this case was Hungary. And Mario Draghi, because he wanted these sanctions with his friends, and Hungary was a problem, little Hungary, he thought about changing the whole process, changing the rules while they're playing. Well, this is happening with people who are sour losers. And he wanted to move it from a veto, like unanimity, into a majority. Well, it didn't happen. Draghi was kicked out. He's going to be some he's going to get another position somewhere else. Anyway, in this case, the same India. India is not going to go left, it's going to go right and north. That is, if you look at the map, they're going to go right, or from its perspective left, which is China. Unfortunately, they have a lot of things to solve at the border over there, and north to Russia, because they know they have a lot of wisdom and they have memory. They have a big memory and they remember who's who, what's what. And Soviet Union did not do much hanky-panky to India versus, I don't know, Great Britain or United States and the Western countries, Western democracies that armed India's friends, Pakistan. If you remember, Pakistan was not a democracy, but the democracies armed Pakistan instead of India. Soviet Union, the tyrant, the evil empire, armed India. Therefore, it's a little bit of a soft spot somewhere. And they're not idiots, obviously, and they know that if they go into the plantation, they will be sent right over there cutting sugarcane, not a house servant like Great Britain, and obviously the master, United States. If he goes to the other side, it's going to probably share with China and Russia and maybe, I don't know, some others over there. It's going to be a different system. Independence or unaligned country, I don't think it's going to be an option at this point. Or it's going to be very hard to play both of them. Could, not impossible, but I think the Americans will not allow that under the current circumstances. And it was going to be political, economic, and probably some regime change pressures in India in order to join the club, my bad, the plantation, instead of joining the club, or however you want to call the other side, which was gonna, it's in the formation status right now. So Jaishankar does not want to play by their rules, and that's exactly what the Russians said. The Anglo-Saxon model has to go. We don't agree with it. We want a new world order, as Bush said it, the older or elder Bush, a new set of values set forth, and we need a new structure. The same China. Well, we'll see if NATO States would allow that to happen or not. As of now, they're still hanging on Ukraine, trying to take care of Russia. If they take care of Russia, if you know what I mean, then the next one is going to be China, and then India, and so on. These guys, as Victoria Nuland said in one of the, she was on a not on a panel, she showed up on a screen at a, I can't remember what kind of meeting she appeared over there, meeting of Ukrainians and blah, 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 and she said that we're not going to do this again. That means we're not going to try to, it was referring to Russia and Ukraine and what's going on over there. We're not going to do this again. We're not going to get involved 100% again into this against Russia. It's now or never, she said. So that means that's why they're so vested into giving everything to Ukraine now. Because it seems like something is slipping through their fingers, and that is China, Russia, India, and so on. The BRICS countries, I'm not talking about North Korea and Iran, obviously, Venezuela, and all these countries who veer towards these guys who say, oh, wait a second, this is another option. We don't have to be alone facing the plantation master. We can go and maybe these guys give us another method, another worldview, as Jaishankar said. He didn't put it that way, but he said we don't have to look through it, and we just refuse to follow that one. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.